Hello, everybody, and welcome to VideoGrimes, the only gaming podcast willing to get your hands dirty. Today is a very special episode. We're doing Editor's Choice Comments, where we read your comments and follow the discussions behind them. Joining me today is Jordan H.
Hey, how you doing?
Sage unfortunately couldn't make it.
Yes, it is unfortunate.
We will be responding to your comments on when does modding become immoral? There was a lot of interesting discussion that sparked from this, and a lot of topics that I didn't really expect. And let's go over some of them, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it. There was let me butt in really quickly. There were some really good comments on here. A couple people in general, I think they should be running the podcast.
Right? So definitely, if when y'all are listening to this, feel free to give us feedback and ideas for future topics for the podcast. We're more than happy to get ideas from you guys. We love this back and forth dialogue. Link on the Facebook pointed out a very interesting comment where he believes that modding becomes immoral not from the consumer side, but rather when publishers change how modding works for their games. Specifically, he points to Bethesda in their attempts to bring modding to consoles. They had to make a lot of sacrifices in terms of game design, program structure, and toolkit capacity in order to allow consoles to be moddable in the first place. And he's very critical of this behavior. He feels that Bethesda's change in how their design methodology in order to bring what he believes is an inferior modding experience to consoles has harmed the community as a whole. And as someone who plays Fallout, I have noticed that there are a lot of weird things that I didn't expect from modding. For example, I'm a really big fan of weapon mods, and I've noticed that a lot of mod authors seem to be adamant that they can't add custom animations to the game. So if you want, like, let's say an AK to be reloadable in the game, if you mod in an AK and it's a standalone weapon, you have to use a reload animation that already exists in the vanilla game. And this can cause a lot of really weird animation glitches where, like, magazines are loaded in from, like, the side, and it looks extremely weird. Like, the magazine clips through the body of the gun.
If you're,
And
oh sorry, if you're trying to be really accurate, that's not going to happen.
yeah, and you kind of need custom loading animations if you want some really weird guns, or if you just want to make a gun on your own. And I'm wondering if this lack of animation in Fallout is responsible, or is in part responsible by the by Bethesda's changing of how their mod kit works. And this was a great comment. I feel that I'm not in any way educated enough on this topic to really say anything constructive, but I think this was a direction I didn't expect. So yeah, thanks for the comment.
One comment that I have on that same comment is, and I too know precious little about console mods, but through reading a couple of articles, one of the issues about them is that it's unsure, how much Sony or Microsoft will have a say in a mod, and so they might not be as free form as PC mods. And with PC mods, basically anything goes. And it seems to me that with the console market, and granted, this is a very new world we're in, I imagine, but you've got the situation where you've got Bethesda altering the game slightly so that consoles can now get in the mod game, and Microsoft and Sony might want to dictate on how that will go. So just a lot of red tape seems to be potentially introduced here.
Yeah, it's definitely a worry of uh, is the modder's creativity going to be hampered by mods coming to console? And is there a fear that this might water down the experience for people? Next comment is from Carl on Facebook, who gave us a completely different perspective on mods that I didn't really expect. For context, Carl is a software engineer, and he says that modding becomes immoral when a mod author creates a mod for a game whose end user license agreement says you're not allowed to mod their game. This is actually something I never even considered because from my perspective, from being in the modding community, you know, you mod a game if you love it, and I've never really seen a negative side to mods. But being a software engineer, Carl seems to feel that any time that an author creates a product, if they don't want that product to be modded, they'll put it in their EULA, do not edit or change our product. And the moment that the players do this, he feels that that is, obviously they're breaking the user and license agreement, and suddenly, that becomes immoral. I'm not quite sure how to feel about this because on the one hand, I can respect that an engineer would not want someone altering or changing their product, and for whatever reason, and I can get on board with that idea. But at the same time, I'm kind of thinking of, see, this is why I love video games, because I feel that video games are where art and engineering come together. And I can't really say anything on, the engineering side where Carl is, where Carl lives, in the engineering and the creation side. But from an artistic side, as someone who loves writing and creating stories, I'm a rather firm believer of the death of the author, where the moment an author creates something or writes a book or a novel or a game, that the moment it's put into the public sphere, it's out of the author's hands. And whatever the public does with it, how they interpret it, how they feel about it, is up to the audience. And if an author does a poor job and suddenly their work is misinterpreted, it's in many ways the fault of the author. But this is definitely a perspective that I am fascinated in. I would love to tackle this topic in possibly a future episode. So yeah, great comment. Thank you, Carl.
Yeah, I love this comment, and I'm glad that we have it. I am not a software developer or a developer of intellectual property that is bought and sold. So this is foreign to me, but yeah, I don't know how to argue against it. It's pretty cut and dry. If it's not in the EULA, then you can't do it. But I do tend to lean more on the artistic side myself. I like the Paul's Boutique argument. Are you familiar with Paul's Boutique, the Beastie Boys album?
No, give it to me.
So Paul's Boutique album from the 80s, it's a seminal record. You will find it on best of lists of every category. Probably one of their best records. The record is created largely from samples. So much so that you could not literally make it today. The cost associated in getting the rights to all of those samples would just be unreal, and a producer would never pony up money for that. But it was made in an era where that was okay, and that was accepted, and it's a brilliant record, and it's a testament to the idea that you can take something, remix it, and then make something amazing with it. And without that concept, I think people would people that had some creativity might not use it to make some really amazing stuff. Yeah, and actually, speaking on creativity, The next comment we have from Jonathan on the Facebook. This is probably my favorite comment. He says, game companies would make their titles much harder to mod if they didn't want them. Mods help engage users, create a community, and progress the game in ways even the makers would not have thought of. It's also the fast track to working in the field. So, he's saying that mods help people get into the game like nothing else before. And this is something that I kind of wanted to address in the episode, but we just ran out of time. The idea that you can learn something from modding. You can learn how the game is programmed. You can learn what makes it tick. And the more you do it, the better you get. You might get into wanting to develop a full game from scratch. And so start from ground one, tinkering, and you go up from there. So
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah, and it's there are actually several success stories where game developers started off with modding. Gary Newman first started his modding career with other mods too, but his most well-known work was Gary's Mod, which was a mod made for Half-Life 2. And he started his own game company once that became popular enough, and now he's making Rust. There's another company called Tripwire who came out with Killing Floor 2. The original Killing Floor was a mod for either it was Half-Life 2 or it was a different game, I forget, but it first started as a mod. And then once the mod became popular enough, they were able to collect enough capital together to create Killing Floor, which was its own standalone game. And it was amazing. I loved that game. And Killing Floor did so well that they created Killing Floor 2. And companies can truly begin from simple modders, and I feel that it is a wonderful way to get into the industry. 13 Gondola 37 says, "OMG, I know you people." Really now? Do you? Speak, friend, and enter.
I think
It,
we're being doxxed.
right? Yeah, like it's pretty awesome. Yeah, if you do know us, hit us up on Twitter. You can find us at VidGrimes, and you can, yeah, just hey, how you doing? Say hi.
Or even if you don't know us, hit us up anyway, because we'd like to know ya.
Yeah, let's meet our fans.
Mm-hmm.
Please share this with everybody. Just hand it to them, no context. That's all the comments that we have. Thank you so much, everybody, for giving us your feedback and giving us some interesting ideas to chew on. And if you have any ideas for future podcasts, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below.
Hey, so what can we expect next week?
I was thinking maybe something along the lines of two noobs recount their tales of Dark Souls, because you and I have taken our first steps into playing Dark Souls 1, and I would love for us to share horror stories and give veteran players of Dark Souls an insight into what it's like to be a real noob playing these games for the first time.
Or at least a real laugh.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And
I need to record me playing this game because it's terrible.
and you're gonna hear my experiences downloading Pokemon Go and trying that for the first time as well.
A lot of good stuff to look forward to in next time's podcast. Thank you everybody so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Bye.